let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk about Chin. So, as most of you guys know, there's been a crazy thing going on with Chin, with TFATK at the moment, or Thick Boy, whatever, Brendan. It seems like, or not, it seems like, it is, Chin has let it be known that he's basically homeless. And I'm trying to work out whose fault this is. I'm trying to figure out with my small little brain whose fault it is that Chin moved to Austin, Texas with no accommodation sorted and is now frantically trying to get a place sorted because they've now moved to Austin, Texas, Brendan and Brian. Whose fault is it really? I'm not too sure. I'm really trying to figure it out in my head. I'm not too sure. My initial feeling, my initial reaction, because I'm a student and a fucking alumni of the Jocko Willink School of Extreme Ownership, I'm going to say it's all Chin's fault. As terrible as a boss Brendan is, or I could imagine he is, and as pointless as Brian Callen is, I would still say Chin, knowing how they are, having worked with those guys for maybe over a decade, I think it is now, he should have known better and he should have had his own house in order. He should have got his own affairs in order. He shouldn't have waited this long. You know, his fault. But the other side of me thinks to myself, given the amount of service, blood, sweat and tears that Chin has given to fucking Thick Boy, The Fighter and the Kid, Below the Belt, fucking Food Truck Diaries, Calabasas Fight Companion, all of the other things they've been doing over the years, given the amount of work, given his life basically that he's given to fucking Brendan, you'd think he'd owe him the favor of maybe helping him out with sorting out a place, maybe hooking him up with his realtor, maybe if push comes to worse, allowing Chin to stay in one of his fucking rooms in his fucking big mansion. I'm sure there's one room free, maybe two, maybe there's a guest house free in the back or something. But for some reason, that hasn't been an option. And I'm wondering why it's the case. Is it because Brendan's a cunt? Is it because Chin's like, you know, very shy and doesn't want to ask for anything, or doesn't want to accept it if Brendan has offered? So he's kind of preferring to do it on his own. What's actually going on? Because this is a pretty sad situation all around. I know I like to laugh at Chin. I take great pleasure at mocking him and shit on the Chin vlog reactions I do on here. But
powerful bunch.
Pick up Odysseys.
Jocko's extreme ownership, huh? Tell him about slavery, B. Okay. Maybe good point. Touche. Good point. I'm on that Kanye time. Slavery was a choice. Anyway, let's just get into the video clip. Let's just get into the video clip and play it. Pick up the Fight on the Kid subreddit. This is a clip that kind of gives you an idea on what's going on, and you can read a lot from this clip. I think you can read basically the whole thing. You can read everything from this clip. I'm pretty sure you can read everything from the feeling that exists in the TFATK studio and whether or not Chin's happy with his current situation. Let's freaking go.
Try it out, buddy. Yeah, we are live from Austin, Texas. First show in Austin, Texas.
Look at that. Do you hear that echo? You hear that lovely, lovely echo? You know why it's echoing like that? It's because this new studio's in a garage. It's not an actual studio. It's a garage. It's a garage with like a tin roof. It's made out of concrete. And they're on the mezzanine floor of this garage. I'm sure that floor is probably plywood or something, right? There's no fucking soundproofing, insulation, zero. So that sound is going to be rattling, vibrating through the entirety of that rectangular structure. And God forbid if Chin and Nick, whoever, Casey and Brian, whatever, God forbid if they all start yapping together. God forbid if they all start talking over each other. It's going to be echoey as fuck in there. Echoey as fuck. No filters will save that shit. That room is probably the worst setup possible for anything that concerns audio. But what do I know?
It is June 1st. The boys pulled it off. Shout out to Brian, Chin, and Casey. We got it done, baby. It's still Still a work in progress, but we got enough to do a show today. Got firing the kid later today, so we're up and running, man. It's been a beast.
Brendan probably showed more concern, probably showed more interest, and was probably more urgent and more pushy with this studio being set up and ready to go than figuring out or finding out if Chin was okay, accommodation wise, if Chin was settled. I bet you he felt more concerned about the studio than Chin's well-being, despite having dragged Chin from LA to Texas because he went to follow Joe Rogan or because he went to save some money in his kid's private school. Pretty scummy.
Yeah, having this whole thing come together. So it's bare bones right now, but we got a lot more to add. We're on the second level of the studio now. Below is, well, they're coming. Will be 2 bent pack car lifts. We'll have a whole kind of thing down there for all that drive fast, all gas stuff.
By the way, he's acting as if like this is like a really large space. It's not that big. So I'm not too sure where these lifts are fitting in. I'm not too sure how they're going to fit this whole thing. Like, I don't know what the vision is. I don't know if the vision is to be a garage that he just does work on trucks that he's going to give away, or if it's going to be a storage facility, a quote unquote garage. Not like, let's not say a garage for storage, but a garage to work. Like, look, is it going to be a garage to mod and to fix cars, or will it be a storage garage, or will it be both? If it's going to be both, it's impossible that they're going to fit everything in. If they do, it's going to be a very chaotic space because the studio or the whatever the podcast studio is a mezzanine floor. It's just literally above. There's not that much room. It's also not the highest. It hasn't got the highest ceiling. I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen it yet, if it's true, but I'm not even too sure if Brendan can stand up without bending down slightly on that mezzanine floor. It doesn't look that high. There doesn't look that much clearance from from the roof and shit. So it's going to be an interesting fit to fit all that stuff in, that vision he's got of having a rag, lift. I don't know if he's just saying that to be like cool and to be like a car dude, but it's sounding a little bit dicey.
Storage for the whips. So then upstairs is all podcasts. So that's what we're trying to do, dude. Might be a little echo because we have high ceilings. We'll figure it out as we go.
People are saying, and Brendan's probably too big of a mouth to know this, but people are saying that allegedly in the city of Texas or whatever state of Texas, sorry, you're not really allowed to have like dual purpose units like this. So if you have a studio, it can't be a garage. If you have a garage, it can't be a studio. Like, you have to get special permission. But all that to say, it's probably likely that some very nefarious, ill-intentioned homeless cat will most likely put in a call to the Texas fucking state, whatever, whoever deals with this, building regulation people, and probably let them know that he is operating like that in his facility and he'll get it shut down. You know what's going to happen, They'll take, some homeless cats will take great glee, great pleasure in getting his shit shut down if he does try and do what he said he wants to do, which is build out a garage and a studio in that one space, because allegedly it's illegal or not. You're not permitted to do so in Texas. It's actually dumb for him to share it. He should have just kept it to himself, but I guess, he was going to share it one way or the other anyway, but it might end up being the worst thing he's ever done because they might end up shutting it down, which will add more delays and more issues.
We will figure it out, man. Life in Austin. What'd you guys do? You guys got in what, Friday? And you're here?
I'm not sure about you. But this picture right here, this pause right there, looks like a man that's stressed. Even Casey looks stressed. He's not even living in Texas. I think Casey's just like a good friend and a colleague, because him and Chin have got quite close over the last few months, and they've been hanging out a lot. I think Casey went there just to help out Chin. Chin looks stressed. That looks like a person that's got a lot of worry on their mind. Now, don't get me wrong. Chin's a bit of an idiot. Because Brendan and Brian, like them or lump them, they have been talking about this Texas move for a while. Brendan went and got his house super quickly. Brian moved into his house a bit later. But they've been talking about this Texas move for a long time. I don't know what Chin was waiting for. I don't know if Chin thought these guys are going to change their mind lastminute.com. I don't know if he was still debating if he's going to go or not, because I've heard a rumor allegedly on the TFATK subreddit. There's a rumor going around that allegedly Chin actually did have some options for jobs in LA that kind of fell through. He was actually that might explain why he hasn't got a crib. Maybe he was waiting for those job offers or interviews that he went to or went for to come back to him, but he didn't come back to him in time. And he was hoping that one of them would have said yes in the time before he would have moved to Austin, and then he could have also said, "No, I'm staying here, bye." But that's a word on the TFAK subreddit, is that Chin didn't actually want to go to Austin. He was waiting for a job offer to come through in LA. They didn't come through, and now he's in Austin, doesn't know what to do. That could explain what's happening right now. The other thing to note in this particular screen grab, in this particular pause, is the studio space. That is the floor that they're talking about. That's the first floor. That's the back of the wall. There is no natural light that comes in. There's no windows. There's no windows. There's no natural light that comes into that building. Maybe apart from the door that's at the front, right? But this is the top floor. This is the first floor, the mezzanine floor. There's a set of stairs that run down there. And Chin and I guess Brendan sits on that side, right? With his back to the wall, facing another wall. It's such a weird setup. It's such a strange setup. I'm not even too sure how sturdy that first floor is in terms of occupancy and shit. I don't know if it's meant to be sat in that long. I don't know what the building regulations are, but it doesn't look like a space that's kind of built for has a studio in it. If anything, it's going to cost. I wonder why they didn't just build. For those of you in the stream chat that know more about fucking building and shit, why couldn't you just bought a space that's already purpose built? Surely it will cost way more to retrofit this into a studio, or to bring up to spec to be like a studio that could actually be of use or be of good use to like do audio and video in. Because I don't know what, you're gonna have to soundproof it, you're gonna have to do something to the walls, you're gonna have to change the roof, I'm assuming, right? It's a tin roof, right? It's one of those kind of wavy fucking roofs that you get in garages, right? Those fucking tin ones. You have to do a lot of work to get this up to spec to be a fucking podcast studio. Why don't you just buy one? Or maybe podcast studios are so expensive that even if you just get a garage or warehouse space and you then convert it into a podcast studio, it's actually works out cheaper. Maybe. The studio reminds there's no such thing as a podcast studio for sale. Not like maybe something with better specs than a garage like this then. Maybe that's what I'd probably mean. Maybe not like a concrete shell with a tin roof. You know? That's what it is, right? It's a concrete building with a tin roof, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's not the best option. Or maybe it is. Concrete walls, maybe you can soundproof those easier than plywood. I don't know. Either way, it's a bit of a shit show. Let's press play.
And you're here till
Thursday?
Yep. And then Jim, when do you move out here?
Oh, big up Addy Z. Wait for the rainy day. A rainy day will explode in sound because Baba is cheap. Oh yeah, true. The rain on that fucking roof is gonna be so fucking loud. And look at this. Do you get the feeling that Brendan is almost mocking Chin? Look at his face. Do you get the feeling that Brendan is somewhat being condescending? Is being a bit of a prick? Is kind of trying to wind up Chin about this move? Considering how stressful, like most moves are quite stressful. I'm a very low stress type of dude. I'm very even keeled. I think stressing is for women and shit. I think men shouldn't stress. You should just keep yourself on a fine even balance and deal with things as they come along. There's no such thing as stress in life. You can handle everything, right? I'm very one of the type of dudes. But even when you have to move house, especially when you have to move house quickly, it's a very stressful situation. Very, very stressful. I can't imagine what it's like to move house and also move your job to a whole nother state without your housing situation being sorted. That's one of the most stressful things to be sorted out, right? Your housing situation, where you're gonna fucking live. You don't want to bleed your savings dry, if you have savings, by the way. Who knows if he has? You don't want to bleed whatever savings you have dry on fucking paying Airbnb or hotel fees. So you want to look for a place to kind of get settled, to kind of get your feet under the table. And then here's your boss who made you move, telling you, or kind of asking you in a somewhat condescending, mocking tone, hey, when are you going to move down here? It's like, bro, why don't you know this situation? Why are you trying to dig into the situation now on air?
Why didn't we talk about this, outside of the podcast? Why are you trying to put me in a spot for? You know I'm stressed out. You know I don't have anything sorted out.
I'm confused. Why haven't you found a place yet?
I'm literally looking for. I've been looking for spots, but I couldn't find any spots. But tomorrow at 12:30, there's a real estate person help me find a place to just rent.
Chin's a bit useless, isn't it? Right? We all know that. Having watched a lot of his vlogs and reacted to a lot of his vlogs, I can say that with some level of confidence, Chin is not the most, resourceful, nearly 50-year-old man you're going to meet, right? He's a little bit childish, maybe a little bit dumb, slow, inexperienced, maybe, who knows? But he does seem he needs a bit of help. That's the be and end of it. If you're Brendan, I would say, and this is not even being hyperbolic here, but I would count Chin as maybe one of your best friends. Like, he's been ride or die, bro. I think despite what I say about him, I think Brendan owes Chin a lot. Because if Chin leaves that organization, if he leaves this fucking whatever is going on here, that shit implodes. No one is doing the level of work that Chin is doing, voluntarily, by the way, by themselves. No one's doing that. Brendan will have to probably hire 2 people to do what Chin does by himself. Because Chin doesn't really have a life, and he seems to kind of pour everything into fucking TFATK and everything else, associated with it. So you'd expect a lot more like care and empathy and consideration from Brendan. Like, yes, he's a bit useless, but step in and help the guy. And he clearly needs help. He hasn't got a place sorted out. Why haven't you just said, hey, don't worry, what's your budget? What type of thing are you looking for? I've got a realtor. Do you want me to recommend a number? I'll pass you the number. Do you know what I mean? Like, why isn't he doing, like, even on air? Forget doing it outside of the pod. If you're gonna bring this up on air, why aren't you offering solutions to help your boy out? This guy's probably one of your best friends. He's been ride or die since basically since the beginning. Most people in the stream chat don't even remember the last guy, Evan the Beard. Most guys don't even remember that guy. He's been the new guy since the left Fox. Probably past more than a decade. And Brendan is not showing any care, any empathy, zero. He's almost like mocking him, no? The way that I would maybe when I do a vlog reaction. That's how but it's like, you know him though. That's your guy. Why are you changing like that for?
Just rent for,
Till you learn the lay of the land.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yep. So doing that tomorrow.
That's smart. Also sounds a bit condescending. Don't get me wrong. To shoot Brendan some bail here, this is still Chin's fault. To shoot Brendan some bail and to give him the benefit of the doubt, this is still majoritarily Chin's fault, because I don't want to track back on the time, but I think when they didn't Brendan suggest the whole like moving to Austin, Texas thing around the 100,000th episode? If I'm not mistaken, people in the stream chat. I think Brendan kind of suggested lightly to Brian that he should move to Austin, Texas. I think around the 100,000th episode when he did that big episode thing about moving to Texas and restarting his podcast, his stand-up comedy thing. So Chin knew that these guys wanted to move to Texas for a long fucking time, and he still didn't get his shit together. So most likely, either he's inept and just dumb in general, or he's been secretly waiting for another job to come through in LA, and he was putting off the move as much as possible. But now it's obviously come to a head and he has to deal with it. That's the only 2 answers that make sense. Either he's just useless, or he was secretly waiting for another job offer to come through in LA, but it didn't come through, and now he's kind of fucked because he didn't sort out a place. But still, Brendan should be helping him, or at least offering him to stay in his fucking mansion.
Yeah.
So then, but until you find one, you're gonna pull the count, fly back and forth.
That's all I can do. Yeah, I don't.
Jeez.
Fuck. By the way, you know that, right? He's gonna be Chin's gonna be now flying back and forth, because I'm assuming a car ride from Austin, Texas to LA is probably what? How long does that take? 24 hours? No way. Is that what they said? Someone said 24 hours. People saying 20 hours. Shit. So there's no chance you could drive, basically. Driving's not an option. Then I'm assuming flying is like what, 4 hours probably, right? I don't know, I'm just making it up in my head. I'm assuming flying from LA to Austin is probably 4 hours, right? Oh my god. Chin, man. Chin. It's practically cross country, B. Okay. He could use that tent. Exactly, Isabella. Isabella in the stream chat. Isabella, give yourself a pat on the back. He could use that tent he threw out. The homeless cat camps. Good welcome, exactly. Oh my god. Imagine how much the flights are. So he's going to be flying what? 4 times a week? Because they record twice a day. He'll be flying out 4 times a week. Oh my god, Chin. Either that or he drives what? 20 hours plus. Someone said it's 24 hours non-stop. Holy shit. Big up Stevie M. I drive from OKC back to home sometimes 24 plus hours. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I mean, what if I can't find a spot? Like, what can you do?
You could find one though, I'm sure.
If I can't find a spot, what can you do? Does that sound like Chin is saying, if I can't find a spot, I can't do the show? Or does it sound like Chin is resigning to himself to flying back and forth from LA to Austin? I think it's the latter to me. I think Chin is so cucked out. I think Chin is so useless and so devoid of options. I think he would gladly fly back and forth from LA to Austin. No, not say gladly. He would do it because he doesn't feel like he has any option. You know? He really doesn't feel like he has any option. You have to question the level of intelligence of somebody that puts all their eggs in the Brendan basket anyway, innit? As much as I want to have sympathy with Chin, surely you had a good run, bro. Like, it wouldn't have been a bad way to end the whole TFATK episode. Yes, it would have been hard to look for another job. I'm sure the job market, similar in the UK. Job market here in the UK is a little bit diabolical, right? I'm sure AI is not going to help things as the years progress. As the years go by, I'm sure AI is only going to take away more jobs, especially in my little marketing social media sort of like area. I'm seeing a lot of jobs kind of dry up. So I'm sure in the producing world, that is also going to dry up as well in some extent. And also I'm assuming producers are probably the last people to ever get sacked from a podcast or podcast network or whatever, right? So there's probably not a lot of spaces or vacancies anyway in general. So yes, it would have been scary, but the perfect opportunity for him to like shake hands and go on his own journey or next journey would have been with those guys moving to Austin, Texas. Cool, this is a good time for me to leave. Maybe help them set up and shit, but for the long term, just focus on your own shit and do something else. I don't know. Maybe try and do that podcast he does with his friends more seriously. That fucking what's that one called again? The after hours thing. That would have been the perfect time to leave Thick Boy, Tiger Thick, whatever. It would have been a perfect time. Instead, he's now there, and it's almost like he might as well stay now. Now he's in Austin. He might as well stay until this shit sinks. He could have left before they moved, but now he's in Austin. There's no point in leaving now. You might as well just stay. Ride it until the fucking wheels fall off. Or until you fall off.
Yeah, but I don't want a piece of crap spot either.
You're looking for like a rental for like a year?
At first, me and my brother were looking for
I remember you
place,
said that.
But it didn't work out, so I'll just look to rent a spot.
Your brother's like, nah, I'm good, man. Dirty.
That's such a white thing to do, though, isn't it? Forgive me, my white people in the stream chat. That's such a white thing to do. To like talk to somebody that way. Like, it's like you're like, hey, are you hungry? I heard you haven't eaten since last week. Shit, what did you eat? What was your last meal? Fuck, man, that's crazy, man. And not offer anything. That's a very like Caucasian thing to do. You're asking these questions, you're probing, you have solutions. You maybe can let him crash in your crib for a couple of weeks. You maybe can offer him one of your real estate agents or realtors to help him out. You may be able to pull out the bat signal to one of your people, I don't know, in the area who might have a room free or couch free. Nah, you just keep asking questions. Oh, really? That's crazy, man. What? So what, you ain't got a crib yet? Now, don't lie. So what, you're homeless, technically. That's crazy, bro. And it's all happening on air. And Chin's just like, and it's almost done in a kind of mocking, condescending way. And Chin's just there, like, awkwardly answering the questions. clearly feeling a little bit useless and pathetic. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying Brendan should offer Chin his guest house or room in his mansion. And I know it's not the most easy thing to do, right? Brendan has a whole family. He has a wife and 3 kids and a dog and shit. It's not the easiest thing to just let somebody crash. But Chin's also not just a random person. Chin is literally one of Brendan's closest friends, really. Yes, I know he pays him, and that's the only reason why he's there. But Chin's been around for decades, or more than a decade at least. He's owed a little bit of that grace. You know what I mean? Of like, hey, I know, my wife is gonna kill me, but don't worry, just stay in the guest house, just stay out of the way. Act like, please don't make your presence known. Go in, go out and shit. I'll give you a bed to crash on. But you gotta get yourself sorted out. Cool. Man, just like, or even let him sleep in the studio. Even, I don't know, let him sleep in the studio. Figure that shit out. Let him just sleep in the studio for now. Give him a little futon, a little fold out, a little
powerful bunch.
Bit younger vibes.
Ozbaba only has 5 bedrooms with the in-laws and 3 kids. What extra room?
Oh yeah, true. There is no extra room in it. That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't remember that. That's a good point. No, you forget that. Not even the in-laws. Just in general. If he's got 5 bedrooms, each kid probably has it. Like, knowing Brendan, with them being like, wanting to be all rich, want to be rich and shit. Most likely, each kid's got their own room. Boston and Tiger have their own rooms. That baby probably has his own room. The daughter, they sleep in the master bedroom. So that leaves one, which probably is not a room. It's probably a studio, an office space. So yeah, there probably isn't any room. I know, I get it. But still, it's just the offer, Trying to be helpful. I don't know, it's just something. Or just let him sleep in the studio. The studio isn't set up here. This is a perfect time for Chin to just have a little fold out bed. As Izanella said, maybe he shouldn't have thrown that tent away. Just put the tent inside that fucking studio, in that fucking garage, in the corner, underneath the mezzanine. And then sleep there for a bit until you get yourself sorted. It's a bit fucked up. It's not the dream. Yeah, leaving LA, leaving a 7 balconies, lovely apartment. Because that apartment was fucking great, by the way. The apartment he left was beautiful. Leaving that apartment with those high ceilings and those great fucking balcony views to then move into a garage in the middle of Austin is pretty crazy. But you're here now. Help him out a bit. Come on, Brendan. Fucking
powerful bunch.
Big up disease.
Tiger gets the master bedroom when he plays well.
Exactly. God almighty, bro. Oh, Josie. Damn you for being fucking sensible. Damn you for being practical and sensible. I didn't think about that. Oh. Where would he shower? Can you imagine the smells? Okay, touche. Maybe studio's not the best idea. Like, Chin's already a bit of a grimy dude anyway, right? This guy's eating fucking 2-week-old defrosted oysters. He's eating condom fish. Like, this is not the guy you want to let just like sleep in the... I mean, he might turn that fit into a pit. That might turn into a fucking... student accommodation very, very quickly. So yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, guys, man. Given everything I've said about Chin over the years, especially with this fucking vlog reactions I do on here, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I feel kind of bad for him. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I feel kind of bad for him. I'm not gonna lie. I feel kind of bad for him. I was watching this clip again in the morning today. I was like, shit, bro. Like, Brendan actually fucked over a person that he should be talking about. Like, a person that is like, if there's one person that you think shouldn't be getting fucked over, it's Chin. Yes, we all know he's terrible. I think, big up Koila. He fucking hates Chin's level of production skills, right? His cable management, his just audio levels, the camera, whatever, right? Chin's useless. Don't get me wrong. But he's still useful to these guys. He might be useless to everybody else. We all can see his indeficiencies and his shortcomings. But amongst these lot, that guy's fucking a genius. You know what I mean? No one else can do what he does. That's why they hired him. That's why they hire other people to do other things. But no one can replace Chin. He's probably the most important person in Thick Boy aside from Brendan. And Brendan's
powerful bunch.
Big up King Bayu.
I can't feel bad when he choose to move with Baba.
I know, but it's like somebody mentioned earlier. I think it was a bit up Younger Vibe. Younger Vibe mentioned earlier, I think, about that whole like moving package thing. Is that common in the US? It's not that common here. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that common here. They don't sort out your accommodation. You might get sorted out in like you might get moved to another location, or they might offer you a contract or a position in another location. But companies don't usually go out the way
Powerful
to
bunch.
pick up IDZ.
That shop has no toilet, only sinks.
Does it even have a sink? Or is that no? It has to have a sink, right? Because it's a garage, probably. I'm assuming. But I don't even, does it have a sink or does it have a hose on the outside? Like, I don't know. Is it a sink or is it a hose? Big up IDZ. I know some companies would offer that relocation package thing, but I think most wouldn't. Most would give you the contract or offer you a deal to say, hey, we're opening a new satellite studio, a new office in this new location. Do you want to move there? And then you can sort out the move, you know? But they don't, I don't know, is that typical for you guys in the States? If a company moved location, would they actually set you up in a new house?
Powerful bunch.
Chin's life is like suicide by 1,000 rotten oysters.
It's fucking brutal, man. Fucking brutal. Big up Asad Aziz. Big up Koila. Wagwan GG. Bro's cooked career-wise, big goof. He didn't value himself, then leave. Big up King Bayu. Fair enough, man. I think some people's got the same view as you, brother. If he didn't value himself, I don't. Neither do I. Fair play, man. Big up. Why not? Wagwan. Why not? It's not Chin can't be replaced. It's that no one wants that. Okay, brilliantly put. Why not? Brilliantly put. It's not that. It's not that Chin can't be replaced. It's that no one wants that job. Fair, but he still made himself indispensable. He still made himself a linchpin, which I think is very crucial in the job market or in the in employment in general. I think it's very important, however you do it, by hook or crook, to make yourself a linchpin, to make yourself crucial to the company's success or whatever, so they can't get rid of you. However you do it, however scummy way you do it, however disorganized way you do it, as Chin did, at least he did it. So it's just a shame that Brennan isn't rewarding him for that and kind of, helping make his move over there as smooth as possible. But maybe that's not his responsibility. Yeah, big up Josie. It's only sinks for Brendan to pee that went right over your head. Oh, okay, cool. Timakazi, yes, sometimes they'll pay for your move. Chin will remake it in the studio. Bro, it's North Korea heart. Yes, if they want you, they will pay for you to move and give you a temp short-term rental. Okay. So if you're really a draw, if people know who you are and you're really a draw, then they will move heaven and earth to get you there. That makes sense. Like I said, I've known some people, my friends especially, who've moved outside of London, and they got given contracts, of course, and decent salaries, but they weren't offered or they weren't given accommodation. They had to sort that out themselves, and obviously they were given ample time to sort it out. They kind of gave them a lot of lead up time before the first day, but it wasn't like they sorted it out for them. But again, these people are way more resourceful and useful than Chin is. This is probably the worst thing that could happen to Chin, having to move the studio is one thing, but in him having to move his own life and sort that out, it's like an afterthought. I don't understand what AZ thinks Chin does that is so indispensable. It's not that I think he's like a high skilled worker. It's just he's the only person in that studio who knows that. For instance, Casey's not going to be there. This guy in the hat isn't going to be there. He's just there to help out Chin or whatever. He's going back to LA. If Chin leaves, there's nobody to record this show. Like, Brendan doesn't know how to record the show.
Powerful bunch.
Because
Papa Business Shark, pressuring his best employee.
Exactly. What you call it? Bullying his kid on the fucking batting floor or in the fucking mound in the grass, whatever, the game, and also bullying Chin. Absolute beast. So Chin does everything that those guys can't do, He doesn't do anything. So they don't do nothing. So I think if Chin leaves, like, well, how are they even going to record the show? Like, does Brendan know how to upload the podcast into the whatever audio platform that they use and shit? I don't know. Does he know how to do that? Does he know how to make thumbnails? I don't know. I guess you can hire 3 people when Chin leaves, but where are you going to find those 3 people? How do you hire them? I don't know. So I think that's what makes him somewhat indispensable. I'm just saying that
he could have used some of that thing that I'm saying about him being indispensable to his favor. So he could have used it to kind of make sure he gets something sorted out combination wise. You know what I mean? But maybe he's not as indispensable as I think he is. Maybe he's not as indispensable as I think he is. Do you really guys think it's permanently going to stay there? I can't see it. Do you guys really think they are? Yeah, of course they're staying there. Big up G Dora. Of course they're staying there. It's cheap, isn't it? Brendan, I think based on how gleeful and quickly Brendan moved to Austin and bought his crib, because remember, Brendan suggested to Brian he should move to Austin, Texas to pursue his stand-up comedy career, right? That's how he pushed it. I'm doing you a solid. I'm pushing you in that direction. Brian, you need to go and restart your comedy career. You're wasted here in LA. You keep touring, but you should be on stage, killing it. No one knows how good you are. All this nonsense, right? But really, I think Brendan wanted Brian to move because he would follow him, because he would obviously wanted the podcast there. But I think Brendan wanted to move to Austin first, or wanted to move because he wanted to save money. I've got a feeling those guys' finances aren't too, on point. So I think regardless of if this podcast flops or not, I don't think they ever move back to LA. I don't think they could afford it. Again, I could be chalking my ass, but I don't think they could afford it. I think the money's kind of gone down. So yeah, let's see what happens. Kind of crazy, but I feel for Chin. I'm not gonna lie, my heart bleeds for Chinny Chin Chin. My heart bleeds for him right now. It bleeds so bad for that guy, but he also deserves it. When you hit your wagon to Brendan, that's what you get.